Hello, this is Sang Park. I am glad to have a chance to present our study in here today. I am going to talk about the effect of the water intake, fatigue, and life stress for the Korean nursing student. This study is conducted by Kyoung Kim, Jia Song, and Sang Park. From 50 to 60% of body mass is made up of water and is essential for the maintenance and promotion of personal health. Lack of water intake can seriously threaten human health. To maintain adequate fluid balance, the European Food Safety Agency recommends that women on average age drink about 2 liters of water and men drink 2.5 drink of water a day. However, there are various opinions about the water intake, and it is now recommended in our country to drink to be proportional to one's health and weight. Water ensures that all systems in the body function properly. In other words, there is essential for the digestive system responsible for digestion and excretion, cardiovascular system responsible for blood pressure and cardiac output, a musculoskeletal system responsible for muscle and bone health, body temperature control, and electrolyte balance. Lack of moisture interferes with smooth and metabolism and does not release toxin from the body, which cause the body to feel tired and stressed. According to the previous studies, Secure and Constant stated that the daily water intake was 2,550 milliliter per day. Although domestic data are insufficient, uh, the overall average is 2,414 grams per day when calculated using the data published by Lee and etc. The current status of water intake among domestic university students has not been studied much. In previous studies, they analyzed studies related to domestic water intake or studies on water intake by mere local university students. Therefore, in this study, we would like to conduct a survey on water intake and check the level of water intake by university students in their 20s. Also, it is intended to reconfirm the importance of water intake and provide basic data on related education programs. This is a research study conducted to understand the current water intake status of domestic university students, and descriptive correlation was identified. Convenient sampling was used for university students located in 충청남도, 충청북도, and Daejeon Metropolitan City. For the sample size, the minimum sample size was calculated by using the G-Power program. To compile with study ethics, the researcher gave the subject a full understanding of the purpose of the study and the contents of the questionnaires, and then only those who agree participated in the study. As I said before, the sample size was obtained using the G-Power program, and the minimum number of students required for the study was 139, which was derived from the significant level of 0.05 and power of 0.95 and the effect size of zero point 0.3. This means the minimum effect size. In consideration of the wastage rate, 240 students participated in this study and a total of 229 data were analyzed except for 11 data, which lacked the content of questionnaires. Data was collected from May 1st, 2021 to May 30th, 2021, and ethical aspects were considered for the subject prior to data collection. The collected data were analyzed using SPSS program. The general characteristics and water intake characteristics of the subject were analyzed by frequency and percentage. The fatigue and level of life stress of subjects were analyzed by means and standard deviations. The daily water intake, fatigue, and life stress according to the general characteristics of the subject were analyzed by t-test and ANOVA. And last, the relationship among water intake, fatigue, and life stress of subjects were analyzed through Pearson correlation. And based on previous study, the tool of this study was developed, modified, and supplemented by researchers, and was reviewed by 2 nursing professors for the content's validity. The tool consists of a total of 66 questions, 11 of general characteristics, 4 water intake characteristics, 1 level of fatigue, and 50 life stress questions for university students. The details are as follows. The general characteristics consist of gender, age, grade, height, weight, number of urine, urine color, smoking status, drinking status, exercise status, and the amount of coffee consumed a day. General characteristics and water intake characteristics were developed by researchers based on previous studies. Water intake characteristics include type of drink usually drink, whether to be trained on the importance of water, and etc. Fatigue consists of one question using the Likert scale from 1 to 10 points. For life stress and the revised life stress scale for university students developed by 겸, 겸주전, 교훈 킴, 준석 리 was used to measure the level of life stress experienced by university students. This tool consists of 50 questions, consisting of 8 factors: relationship with friends, lovers, family members, and professors that are subject to interpersonal stress, academic, economic, future, and value issue. In the study of Chun, etc., who developed the tool, the frequency of experience of stress and the importance of event over past year were evaluated with a 4-point scale. But in this study, we omitted the importance of events and reconstruct only the frequency of experience with a 5-point Likert scale from 1 to 5. At the time of tool development, Cronbach alpha was 0.75 in the study of Chun and etc. Here's the result for general characteristics. First, the average age was 23.13 and 85.6% of students were female and 41% of students were senior, so they are majority of the subjects, and 42.4% of students had urine from 5 to 6 times per day, and most of them didn't smoke. But on the other hand, 59% of students won't drink. Answers they are drinking. And let's see. And about 57.6% of student answers they do not exercise, and 47.6% of students answers that they drink coffee about from 200 to 400 cc per day. And when you considering water intake, 47.6% of students said that they drink water about from 600 to 1000 cc of water per day. And this is the result for fatigue and stress of the life related to general characteristics. When you look at the fatigue were different depending on whether they do have exercise or not, and the result showed that when they do exercise they feel fatigue less than the others. For other general characteristics, they didn't show significant result. For the stress of life, two characteristics showed significant result. The first one is smoking. Uh, Result shows that when they smoke, they have more stress of life than those who do not smoke. For coffee intake, it shows that when they have more coffee, they have more stress of life than the others, or than the people who took less coffee. So those smoking and coffee intake are the factor showed some significant difference on stress of life. And this is the result for water intake characteristics. Uh, yeah, let's see. When you add them up, it is gonna be 63.4% of students know the ingredient of water at least some degree, and about 81.7% of students, they don't drink the water according to their weight, and 52.8% of students drink the water as a drink more usually manner. So the rest of them is drink uh, something else other than water as kind of usually drink. And the water have some different type of water, and about 70% of students drink bottle of water as like some usual use, and 48.9% of students uh, think the most important thing when they choose the water is the price. Yeah. And 62% of students says they didn't receive the water intake education before. This is the result for correlation among water intake, fatigue, and life stress. And it showed that the water intake didn't show significant correlation between fatigue and life stress. On the other hand, fatigue and life stress showed significant positive correlation. It means when they have more stress, they may have more fatigue on something like that. This is similar to what we see before on the result. Conclusion. In this study, a survey was conducted on the water intake of domestic university students to suggest the importance of water intake and create basic data on the development of related education programs. In general characteristics, the average age of student was 23.13 and women made up the majority. There was more students who didn't smoke than those who did. And there were more students who drank alcohol than those who don't. And there are more students who exercise than those who didn't. Previous study also showed similar result with this study. There were more students who did not smoke, did not exercise, and drank alcohol. The previous studies, domestic university students prioritized price and quantity without checking the nutrient during purchasing water, and which corresponded with the result of this study as well. Although drinking good water is an important part, university student choice were not. According to this study, 36.7% of students didn't know the ingredient of water, and 81.7% of students did not drink water according to their weight. This study also found that 62% of university students did not receive water intake education. So education on how to choose and drink water is essential for them. 52.8% of students usually consume the water, and the rest usually consume other type of drinks. It was found that they consumed a lot of coffee and sodas. Previous study also showed that university students consumed a lot of coffee and soda, which is considered an inappropriate habit of drinking. In this study, students were drinking from 200 to 400 cc of coffee a day. Considering that university students in a region in Korea drank an average of about 156 or to 157 milliliters of coffee, it is found that university students in this study, or current students, they are drank a lot of coffee, especially drinks with high caffeine can cause side effects such as insomnia, heart palpitations, headaches, and dizziness. Regarding the difference in fatigue and life stress related to the general characteristics of the subject, fatigue differed depending on exercise status. Students who exercise were less tired than students who did not exercise. Previous studies showed a similar result to this study, as exercise can reduce fatigue. Life stress differed depending on smoking status and coffee intake. On average life stress score of university students who used the same tool in the previous study was 2.36. However, the university student in this study showed a higher stress score of 3.11. Students who smoked had higher life stress than those who did not. And students who drank more coffee had a higher life stress. In previous studies, there are life stress difference depending on smoking, but there was no significant difference from coffee intake. This part showed a different result from this study, so it is believed that repeated studies are necessary in the future. Also, fatigue and life stress was significantly correlated in this study. Coffee is one of the most popular drinks for adults, but it is considered necessarily to encourage proper drinking of water instead of drinking coffee because it can cause problems such as uh, obesity. In previous study that confirmed the relationship between coffee and body composition among female university students. Coffee intake significantly affected body composition, and the body composition level related to obesity have been found to increase. There was also a difference in water intake and body composition. This could be the basis for supporting the result of this study. Previous studies have shown that coffee can cause uh, obesity and require at least 5 glasses of water a day to maintain health-related body composition. This result suggests that the education on water intake for university students is essential, and more emphasis is needed on the positive influence of water in water intake education. Furthermore, it is considered necessary to provide education on drinking water for adults in national health education. This study will provide basic data on the development of efficient nursing intervention to change the perception of water intake that can cause health problems in long term and maintain physical and mental health of domestic university students. Yeah, the references are in at the end. Yeah. Thank you for listening uh, to my presentation. Thank you.